Hi guys! So today we are making a banner and I'm going to take you step by step through the whole thing because I know some people have been wondering how to go about making a basic banner, which I'm going to do the fishtail banner, which looks like this. And it's very simple. I'm just going to do the cardstock version, which I find is, fine enough. You don't really need to do chipboard. Um, Normally, I find that banners aren't kept that long anyway. They're normally for birthday parties and baby showers, maybe staying in the baby's room, but it's not going to be touched very often. So there's no need to really do anything sturdier than a piece of cardstock. I find that it's sturdy enough on its own. So to begin our fishtail banner, we're going to take a 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. I'm just using a white, which is pretty durable. And I cut it in half at 5.5 on the 11 side. And then I'm going to find the mark that is 3. I'm just going to pencil that in. And then I'm going to find the 2 3/4, because well, 3 is depending on how long you want your banner, your fishtails to be, and also depending on what size you end up making your fishtail. It depends on what measurements you need. So this is just the measurements for a 5.5 by 8.5 banner with a 3-inch fishtail. So you want to take that center point that you made with your pencil mark, and you want to line the prong of your trimmer up diagonally so that that point matches the end point of your paper. And then I like to just stab my little doohickey in there so that way it doesn't wrinkle the corners, because I find that the corners can be wrinkled very easily if you do not, set the little blade in on that point. So that is how you make the basic shape. And then you can either start with your paper by tracing it, or you could do the measurements just like this. I have a designer paper, just a pattern paper, and I want to go ahead and take off this little banner piece because I'm not going to use it on this project. Oh, that did not cut at all. Do 5.5 by 8.5 so that it matches my banner piece that I've already made, the template. And I'm going to need 4 of these papers. So I'm going to cut it down to 5.5 by 8.5. So it's the same size as my banner piece. And then you can either use your piece as a template and just stick your banner piece on top of your cardstock and just hold it still, or even put a piece of washi tape on it so it doesn't move on you, and then you can just cut along the lines. Or you could do the same thing that we did with the pieces and do the measuring. So you're going to flip your piece of paper over so you don't even have to erase the lines, which is fantastic. And then do the same thing as you did with the piece. And that will get you a piece that will fit perfectly on top. Use the banner piece as your template instead of doing it this way. Your piece is actually going to end up being a little bit larger. Your paper is going to be a little bit larger than your template, your cardstock piece. So this is a good way if you want it to fit exactly along with your template. But if you don't really mind spending that little bit of extra time to measure everything out again instead of doing the template, then you will get your exact piece. Alright, so once you have all your pieces all cut out, you're ready to go ahead and assemble. So you're going to take a piece of each, and I like to put the adhesive on the designer paper. Don't know why, if it might be just a preference thing. And I'm going to use my tape runner, but you can use any kind of glue that you want. I normally use my Elmer's Craft Bond, but I find that this is so much easier. Actually, I have fallen in love with it so hard. And then you're going to want to make sure, if you have any spare goobers, that you go ahead and fold those in, just so they don't tuck on anything else. And then this is the very hard part. What I like to do is I take both pieces and I kind of line it up on the table. So that way they line up a little easier. And then go ahead and, make sure those goobers aren't hanging off. Reminds me of the SpongeBob song. I'm a goofy goober. Rock. Anyways, after you get all the pieces put together, well, the base part, then this is the time that if you are going to ink, go ahead and ink. So I'm going to use a Stampin' Spot. This one is called, should have had that ready, huh? Marina Mist. And it's a very light blue. And it's going to match what I'm going to do here in a bit. So it is a little awkward getting into that corner. So I recommend using a smaller ink pad or using a tool or even just a cotton ball. That works too. I love using cotton balls for projects. And especially because, you know, we all make mistakes. Some of us a little bit more than others. But, like, I made a huge boo-boo and didn't line up my piece all the right way. So what I did is I'm going to ink over it and just make it as blue as I can get it. And then that will blend in pretty well. See, it doesn't look too bad, even though it's a little off. And that way you don't have to go back to, you know, cutting and whatnot. Or you can, you know, just when you first make, or when you're first cutting, make an extra one. That way, when you make the extra one, you're not going to mess up. Because that's always what happens when you're prepared. Got all the inking done. Now, I would suggest go ahead and punch your holes if you are going to punch holes. I know some people like to do just plain or just ribbon, like hot glue it on, but I normally like to do the hole punch thing. So you're going to make your holes, your first initial holes, and then you're going to take your other pieces and you're essentially going to use the holes you've already created as a template for where to punch your other holes at. Just flip it over. Match your holes up. Or you match your pieces up. You haven't created your other holes yet. And then punch. Nothing too fancy. Alright, now is the time to go ahead and decorate as much as you want. Done some die cutting. I'm going to use this lovely bear. Great about these bears are you can just fold, well, great about any die cutting, just fold the thing in half, and then if it's a directional thing, make sure you have enough that will go in the same direction. And if you're using glitter paper like I am, make sure to roll it through a few times, because sometimes it just doesn't want to go. So I'm doing the bear, and I'm going to go ahead and tape him down. And I'm going to go ahead and move my bears out of the way, just so I don't get them all inky. And I'm actually going to spell out the word joy, because it is a Christmas banner. So there's the J. And this stamp set I ended up getting because I was so sick of buying thickers. I mean, I love thickers, but they can get so expensive, especially the really nice ones for banners. So I figured, why not just make my own, essentially. Alright, so I've got my letters all out. I'm going to go ahead and place them. I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It doesn't matter what ink you use, really. Depends on what you feel like using. I'm going to ink it real well. Blow on it just a little bit. So there's the J. What I'm going to do is go ahead and cut these letters out and use them just like thickers. After cutting out my thickers, I'm going to go ahead and take my Stampin' Spot, the same color that I used before. I'm going to go ahead and cover this flower with some of that blue, just to give it a little bit more oomph when we get to putting it on. And I'm actually going to use some foam tape so that it's all popped up, and that will give the letters a real chance to pop off the page. Piece of hair wants to get on this tape. My hair goes everywhere, let me tell ya. Some people, I'll go to their house and for like an hour, and 3 days later they text me and they're like, I found your hair. Because it sheds and it's long, which you shed or you lose a lot of hair anyways, so when it's long it just seems like you're losing a lot more, but in reality you're not. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this foam tape. Alright, for the actual letters I'm going to go ahead and just glue them on because my tape runner is way too big to fit in these little crevices. So I'm going to start with the first hole. Ooh. If I don't lose my ribbon. So I'm just going to crunch it down to a size that I know will fit in the hole. Pull it through, and then you're going to want to turn it on its back side and just make a knot at the end. So that way it doesn't go through the hole at any point. And then what I like to do is I like to just leave the other, well, once you tie your knot, I like to leave a little bit of excess so they can either thumbtack it or tie it on something. Sometimes I like to make a loop, but other times I just find that a lot of people just like to thumbtack it, so no need to make a loop if you're just going to puncture it, right? And that is how you make yourself a banner. So let's go ahead and get a close-up here so you can see it real well. And that is my Joy Christmas in July banner and a basic tutorial on how to do it. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Makes me, you know, realize what kind of videos you guys like and which ones are meh, you know. So it gives me kind of some intuition into your guys' mind, like a telepathic kind of thing. Ooh. Now, I wish I could read your guys' minds. That's why I need you to thumbs up, so I know. Alright, anyways, I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you are having a crazy day. Not too crazy, good crazy, not bad crazy, and I will see you later. Bye! And I went to the crafting night at my library. So they had tables set up with different cardstocks, different books about